McGraw-Hill Professional presents The New Manager's Survival Guide, Everything You Need to Know to Succeed in the Corporate World, written by Stephen Haines, narrated by Stephen Roy Grimsley. Forward. When I first read the manuscript for The New Manager's Survival Guide, I asked myself two questions. Number one, who exactly might benefit from this book? Number two, who exactly might think that they would benefit from this book? Although these questions are separated by just a few choice words, the differences in their meanings are vast. Having spent over 20 years in the corporate world with a variety of different companies and in a number of different leadership positions, I immediately knew the answer to my first question. In a word, everyone. This may seem like a dramatically overarching response, but in truth, I can't think of a single person, inside business or outside of it, who couldn't benefit by knowing the ins and outs of how a company operates. For anyone who works inside a company, the information that will be shared within this audiobook will serve as an invaluable resource that would take most business professionals decades to learn on their own, if it even gets learned at all. Throughout my career, I have witnessed far too many business people who fail to gain perspectives and understandings outside of their own job functions and, as a result, fail to fully grasp how to effectively collaborate and interact outside the boundaries of their own departmental walls. It takes time, patience, and an innate curiosity to learn about what other functions do and, perhaps more important, why they do it. As such, this knowledge tends to be coveted by those select few individuals whose job it is to deeply understand and interact with multiple different departments on a very regular basis, or by those people who actively seek out such opportunities on their own. In the grand scheme of things, neither of these scenarios is terribly common within large organizations, and as a result, internal misalignment and miscommunication can be something of the rule rather than the exception. For those people working outside of companies, nary a day goes by without someone asking the question, why in the world did company X, Y, or Z do that? Whether this question is asked from the perspective of a frustrated customer, a concerned supplier, or an inquisitive investor, it is quite common for people outside of an organization to not fully understand what makes a certain company tick, or, perhaps more commonly, not tick quite as steadily as maybe it should. Not that understanding the root of any particular company issue will automatically make it go away, but it will certainly lessen the frustration of not knowing and clear the path for a smoother, more fruitful interface that all concerned parties can more effectively benefit from in the long run. Practically everyone on Earth deals with companies at some point in his or her life, so understanding how they work can only make that interaction more meaningful. This book provides the foundational knowledge that most people, both inside and outside of companies, don't always have ready access to. So within this context, answering everyone in response to my first question doesn't seem so out of range. My second question, on the other hand, is a bit more difficult to address. Let's face it, the reason I asked the question of how many people might think they need this book is because I have a sneaking suspicion that this number may not be very high, or at least not as high as it should be. In my experience, I believe that most people in business instinctively know just how much they don't know about the way their companies operate. The problem is, some people in business might feel that they should know how a company operates, and therefore they may be reluctant to fully admit when they don't. Couple that with the fact that deep learning takes time that may not always be in abundant supply, and you have a recipe for broad knowledge gaps not only to exist in business, but to actually widen as careers progress and responsibilities expand. All of this brings me to my main concern, which is that new managers, or even aspiring ones for that matter, might be inclined to believe that they can learn everything they need to know on the job, or worse, that there might be some unwritten expectations of them to do just that. Of course, the fact that you have chosen to read this book indicates that you probably don't fall into this particular category, and it is for this very reason that I would like to ask for your help in two relatively simple ways as you work your way through the chapters that follow. First, if you find the lessons in this book
Sample complete. Ready to continue?